Yang terhormat Bapak Joko Widodo, Presiden of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Peri Warjio, Governor of Bank Indonesia, my dear colleague finance ministers as well as central bank governors, head of delegation, guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all of you. Good afternoon for those of you in a different time zone. It is really my great pleasure to welcome you all here to the first meeting of the G20 Finance Minister and Central Bank Governors under Indonesia 2022 presidency. We are pleased that some of you were able to join us in person today, while some others are joining virtually. I do hope that all of you are enjoying our hospitality. For those of you who are joining virtually, we hope that you may be able to attend a meeting in Indonesia in the near future. Colleague ministers and governors, since we last met, the global economy is continuing to recover, but there are factors that are impacting the pace of the recovery. These include higher food and energy prices, potential increases of interest rate, and the threat of new COVID-19 variants, supply chains disruption, natural disaster due to climate change, and growing geopolitical tension. After a contraction of 3.3% in 2020, the IMF projected that the global economy would grow by 5.9% in 2021, but then moderated to 4.4% in 2022. As we are all witnessing, the global economy has been recovering, but definitely this recovery process is not even and not easy. The emergence of the new variant Omicron has also contributed to heightened uncertainty in the global economy. And like previous variant of COVID-19 that is affecting countries at different times, the divergence of capacity to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic, including the vaccine rollout across countries, are major factors that are leading to the uneven recovery. These factors will, of course, shape the global economic landscape ahead. Indonesia has become president of the G20 at this uniquely challenging time. On the one hand, we must follow through on our commitment to tackle global health challenges to help countries manage the impact of COVID and other new variants that may emerge. On the other hand, we also must manage other new risks which is emerging. Managing the economic and financial impact of the pandemic and improving equitable vaccine access remain a priority. This is also to broaden and strengthen the global recovery process and to ensure we recover together and we recover stronger. Directing vaccine to where they are most needed is crucial to bringing the pandemic under control and reducing the likelihood of the new variant. In addition to this, to the asynchronous recovery process that poses near-term risks, we also have to be very vigilant to many new elements of risk. Inflation risks remain skewed to the upside, driven by supply chain disruption, labor market mismatches, wage pressure, and higher energy prices. These measures have been more persistent than previously expected, and if not dealt with properly, could increase the risk of de-anchoring of inflation expectation and impede recovery. While there is a higher likelihood that inflation expectation no longer remain anchored, this need to be closely monitored to avoid the risk from materializing. Furthermore, there is risk that our macro fiscal policy setting within economies may not adequately balance continued policy support in the midst of more limited fiscal space. Countries' domestic macroeconomic policy may also cause adverse impact for other economies. Divergent economic recovery may have significant implications since it can lead to a different pace of policy normalization and potentially create a tighter global financial condition. In this regard, global coordination, including a discussion on exit strategy, will be critical. I really want to underline the spirit of cooperation and collaboration are certainly very critical at this very challenging time. To achieve smooth recovery and achieve a strong, sustainable balance and inclusive growth, there is also a pressing need to address problems that are bound to leave enduring economic scars. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to profound global economic disruption, both on the supply side and the demand side. As history suggests, such disruption include high unemployment, weak investment, low productivity, and if not addressed properly and rapidly, we are bound to leave long-lasting scars. These scars can hold back private sector recovery as well as cause long-lasting impact on public finances. It can also affect both the real sector as well as financial sectors. Ultimately, this will hamper progress towards strong and resilient economic growth. Against this background, as the world moves toward recovery, there is an urgent need to address risk stemming from exiting policy support and scarring effect. It is important to ensure countries recover together to avoid the build-up of imbalances. Policy ahead should develop well-calibrated, well-planned, and well-communicated exit strategy, and also identifying strategies for overcoming scarring effects and ensure that economic growth is inclusive, that no one left behind. The pandemic also provides us with a harsh reminder of the vulnerability of our global economy of non-traditional shock. Climate change could pose even bigger threat than the pandemic. The G20 must play a role in combating climate change, not just to reduce carbon emission, but also finding ways to raise and direct more financing for sustainable investment, as well as technologies that facilitate climate action. We need to commit to a just and affordable transition, and again, within this challenge, the spirit of cooperation and collaboration are very critical. We also have to strengthen the global health architecture during Indonesia G20 presidency. We have prioritized 3 major issues in our effort to strengthen the global health architecture. First, to build a global health system resilience. Second, we need to harmonize global health protocol standards. And lastly, we need to expand global manufacturing hub for vaccine, therapeutic, and diagnostic to developing countries. We also need to share knowledge for pandemic preparedness in a health crisis. We believe that the G20 should be at the leading role to achieve stronger global health architecture. We also have the opportunity to build back better with a recovery that delivers for the climate. Progressing sustainable financing initiative will be central to achieving this goal. We have to leverage international finance resources and unlock private sector investment if we are to realize the green transition that we so urgently needed. A key priority for our presidency is to accelerate energy transition toward a low-carbon global economy. This will require significant investment in sustainable infrastructure and advancing transition finance that will be key to making this a reality. In Indonesia's case, we are preparing many policy frameworks to support sustainable finance initiative, including preparation for energy transition mechanism. We have a lot of coal, and we have a lot of coal plant. And that's why how we are going to transit into a more renewable and green energy in a just and affordable way is very critical. I think Indonesia is not alone in this case. Many other countries are facing the same challenge and task. The third is we should enhance our commitment to develop financial inclusion framework under the Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion and harness the benefit of digitalization with the objective of boosting productivity and fostering a sustainable and inclusive economy for women, youth, and medium-sized enterprises, medium and small-sized enterprises. Those three topics are the most important agenda to our Indonesia presidency in the G20. And I would like, in this case, to get the support from all of you so that we are going to be able to create legacy and contribute a good legacy and contribute to the global economic recovery process. As a leading international economic forum, G20 must confront climate change as a defining global importance. I'm pleased that we are, as a membership, have expressed a strong commitment to utilizing our full policy toolkit to address these very significant policy challenges. In my role as a co-chair for the Coalition of Finance Ministers for Climate Action, I urge you, my colleague, not to underestimate the impact we can have, and I welcome the willingness of the membership to consider fiscal, market, as well as regulatory mechanism to reduce carbon emission. The international financial architecture is another area that continues to deserve our attention. We have to enhance our effort to promote sustainable capital flow and strengthen financial resilience, including for low-income countries. We also need to embrace the efficiency of cross-border payment as well as the discussion on a digital currency. Ladies and gentlemen, today and tomorrow, we will discuss all these issues and many others in more detail. We hope that we have a tangible deliverables this year to address the challenges that we are facing. We want to show the world that the collective achievement of the G20 in dealing with this pressing issue, and I look forward to your support in achieving this goal. To be able to recover together, recover stronger, we definitely need to promote a strong collaboration and cooperation so that the world is going to be a better place for all of us to live. Thank you so much for all your attendance here. And I do hope you are going to enjoy your stay in Jakarta. This is certainly not Bali, but you are going to be pleasantly surprised that Jakarta is very green and also a very pleasant place for all of us to have a very productive meeting. So now I would like to invite Bapak Peri Warjio, Governor of Bank Indonesia, to highlight the agenda of the G20 Indonesia Presidency. Pak Peri.
Thank you, Minister Sri Mulyani. Your Excellency Presiden Republik of Indonesia, Mr. Joko Widodo. My dear colleagues, Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati, Minister Finance of Republik Indonesia. A very good morning, my fellows, Minister of Finance, Central Bank Governors, they are present today, as well as international organization that both present in this room as well as virtually. I would like to join Minister Sri Mulyani in welcoming all of you to our first Finance Minister and Central Bank Governors meeting held under the Indonesian G20 presidency. I'm pleased that many of you are able to join us in person today, and I hope those who are joining us virtually can make it to Indonesia for the coming meetings. Before we start our session today, I would like to briefly elaborate the Indonesian finance track priorities for 2022 to provide context for our discussion today and tomorrow. After 2 years combating the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is still striving to contain the virus, with countries experiencing a resurgence in case numbers and dealing with the new variants. Completing vaccination up to this stage only covers a small fraction of the world population, not enough to create herd immunity, resulting in an uneven economic recovery. Besides disruption due to the pandemic, other strategic environments affecting the global economy today include climate change and natural disaster, which could lead to an environmental crisis. Amidst challenge faced, the role and leadership of the G20 is more important than ever, both to handle the root cause of the problem, such as to ensure sufficient production and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, as well as to address other issues in the global strategic environment to set in motion for global economic recovery. Our resolve in tackling these issues will determine our path towards a strong, sustainable, and inclusive recovery, which sets the theme for Indonesian presidency: recover together, recover stronger. Under this theme, the finance track of the Indonesian presidency will focus on the 6 flagship agendas, which comprises of, first, exit strategy to support recovery. Second, addressing scarring effect to secure future growth. Third, payment system in the digital era. Fourth, sustainable finance. Fifth, financial inclusion. And the sixth, international taxation. Allow me to provide you a short brief of each agenda. First, on exit strategy to support recovery. Securing a stable exit from the pandemic is priority for policymakers across the globe. As recovery is underway, with some countries moving toward policy normalization earlier than others, the adjustment of their monetary policy, along with the withdrawal of stimulus, will shape the global economy. This would also potentially create a tighter global financial condition and may induce capital outflow from emerging markets. Against this background, the agenda on exit strategy will discuss on how the G20 can safeguard global recovery momentum from the negative spillover stemming from a synchronized exit policy and different pace of policy normalization through a well-calibrated, well-planned, and well-communicated exit strategy. Going further, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to profound global economic disruption, both on the supply and the demand side. Such disruption, such as high unemployment, weak investment, and low productivity, if not addressed properly, are bound to leave long-lasting scars. The scars can hold back recovery and hamper the progress toward strong and resilient economic growth. Therefore, there is an urgent need to address risks stemming from scarring effect. In this respect, discussing on addressing scarring effect to secure future growth will discuss on how the G20 can address the scarring effect stemming from the pandemic by calibrating the policy to boost productivity and investment, together with the strategy of labor and capital reallocation. The COVID-19 pandemic has escalated the adoption of the digital payments. In 2020, under Saudi Arabia presidency, the G20 endorsed the FSB roadmap for enhancing cross-border payments. The early stages of the roadmap implementation are being carried out, and the G20 needs to advance this work in 2022. Therefore, the agenda on payment system in the digital era will focus on two main topics on cross-border payment and CBDC. That is how G20 can promote a cheaper, faster, more transparent, and more accessible cross-border payment, and how G20 can forge a stronger collaboration to better understand the implication of CBDC on international monetary system, including on spillovers and capital flows. The pandemic is a harsh reminder that the global economy may be deeply affected by non-traditional shocks. Climate change could pose a bigger threat than the pandemic. Thus, we need to address the risk and build back better towards a green and sustainable recovery. However, as countries have different capacities and pace in addressing such issues, it is important the climate agenda also address the affordability of financing, technology, and know-how to move toward a just transition. Therefore, the agenda on sustainable finance will focus on how the G20 can promote a just and affordable transition toward a low-carbon economy and sustainable finance, both from the perspective of macroeconomy and financial stability. On financial inclusion, the pandemic has widened inequality, especially for the most vulnerable and underserved groups, including MSMEs. The expansion of digital payments and digital economy offers a path to improve access to finance for individuals and MSMEs, and this can bolster economic recovery. Under the financial inclusion, the Indonesia G20 presidency will focus on digital financial inclusion and SME finance through ensuring the implementation of G20 2022 Financial Inclusion Action Plan (FIAP), while promoting the use of digital technology to support a more inclusive economy. On international taxation, the strong collaboration and leadership of G20 countries and the OECD has helped deliver an historic agreement toward a more stable and fairer system of international taxation. Building on this agreement under the International Taxation Agenda, the G20 will advance the discussion on the area related to the international tax package, tax certainty, tax transparency, tax and development, environment and tax, as well as tax and gender. Altogether, these agendas aim to ensure recovery that is inclusive, leaving no one behind, and pave the way towards a more sustainable future. Overall, the agenda for 2022 aims to ensure an inclusive, strong, and sustainable recovery. We believe that G20's global leadership plays a critical role to accomplish this, and we hope to have a fruitful and constructive discussion today and tomorrow. I will end here. Thank you, and I pass back the floor to Minister Sri Mulyani.
Thank you, Pak Berry. We are going to have a very full and quite a lot of agenda ahead of us. So now we would like to watch the welcoming remarks video by our President, Bapak Joko Widodo, the President of the Republic of Indonesia. President Jokowi, unable to join us here today due to his prior agenda, but he has sent his warmest regard to all delegates joining this first Finance and Central Bank Governors meeting. So let us hear Bapak Presiden Jokowi Widodo. The screen is yours, Bapak Presiden.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia, yang saya hormati Gubernur Bank Indonesia, yang saya hormati para Menteri Keuangan dan Gubernur Bank Sentral negara-negara G20, para pemimpin lembaga keuangan internasional dan organisasi internasional, para hadirin dan undangan yang berbahagia. Sebagaimana saya katakan pada IMF World Bank Annual Meeting tahun 2018, the winter is coming, dan saat ini winter yang berat benar-benar datang. Pandemi belum berakhir dan ekonomi dunia masih terguncang. Dalam situasi seperti ini, tidak ada satu negara pun yang bisa bangkit sendirian. Semua negara saling terkoneksi. Tidak ada yang terisolasi. Kebangkitan satu kawasan akan membangkitkan kawasan yang lainnya. Sebaliknya, keruntuhan satu kawasan akan ikut meruntuhkan kawasan yang lainnya. Dalam situasi yang seperti ini, bukan saatnya untuk rivalitas. Bukan saatnya untuk membuat ketegangan baru yang mengganggu pemulihan dunia, apalagi yang membahayakan keselamatan dunia, sebagaimana yang terjadi di Ukraina saat ini. Saat ini semua pihak harus menghentikan rivalitas dan ketegangan. Kita harus fokus untuk bersinergi, untuk berkolaborasi, menyelamatkan dan membangkitkan dunia tempat kita hidup untuk segera bangkit kembali, pulih kembali. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, ketidakpastian global harus kita hadapi dengan sinergi dan kolaborasi. Kita harus bekerja sama mengendalikan inflasi yang cenderung meningkat. Kita harus mengantisipasi kelangkaan dan kenaikan harga pangan, kita harus mengatasi kelangkaan kontainer dan rantai logistik lainnya, kita harus mencegah terjadinya kelaparan. Kita juga mempunyai tugas untuk melakukan beberapa transformasi. Kita harus mempercepat proses transisi menuju ekonomi baru. Kita harus mempercepat transformasi digital yang merata dan terjangkau, dan kita harus mendukung kebangkitan UMKM. Pertemuan antar Menteri Keuangan dan Gubernur Bank Sentral dari negara-negara G20 ini pasti bisa merumuskan langkah-langkah kebijakan fiskal dan moneter yang saling bersinergi antar negara untuk menyelesaikan permasalahan kita bersama, permasalahan dunia. Kita harus berkolaborasi untuk menangani isu-isu strategis global tersebut dengan capaian-capaian yang nyata, capaian-capaian yang terukur untuk mengatasi masalah dan juga mencegah masalah, agar pertumbuhan ekonomi dunia lebih inklusif dan berkelanjutan. Hadirin sekalian, dengan semangat recover together, recover stronger, Indonesia mendorong pembahasan agenda-agenda prioritas dunia. Kita harus memperkuat penguatan arsitektur kesehatan global. Kita harus memfasilitasi dan membiayai transisi energi menuju ekonomi hijau dan mempercepat transformasi ekonomi digital. Indonesia sangat antusias menjalankan peran presidensi G20 untuk berkontribusi kepada dunia. Indonesia akan mendorong sinergi dan kolaborasi, termasuk sinergi dan kolaborasi antar Menteri Keuangan dan Gubernur Bank Sentral G20 dalam merumuskan kebijakan fiskal dan moneter yang tepat untuk mengatasi permasalahan dunia. Saya menaruh harapan besar kepada para Menteri Keuangan dan Gubernur Bank Sentral G20. Saya berharap pertemuan ini akan menghasilkan langkah-langkah sinergis dan kolaboratif yang konkret yang segera bisa dilaksanakan dan segera tampak hasilnya. Recover together, recover stronger. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.